What is up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Surfing the Stream, where every week we're on a quest to find out what is the greatest movie of all time. We just got home from seeing Inside Out 2. I'm here to tell you whether or not you should go spend your hard-earned money and see this in theaters. Well, guys, let me tell you, you should. All right. This is a movie that is good enough to go see in theaters. This is a movie good enough that could potentially be at that bottom end of the top 10, maybe right outside the top 10 of 2024 when it's all said and done. I had a pretty good time with this movie. And by pretty good time, I mean it pulled on the heartstrings a little bit, hit you right in the feels for an hour and a half. So we watched the original movie on Sunday for Father's Day, and that was the second time that I saw that movie, and let me tell you, I saw it when it first came out, which was in like 2015, I want to say. So like 2 years as a parent, and I remember not liking the original movie as much. Fast forward to Sunday with Father's Day, and to me, that movie just hit differently because I have a daughter that's right at 10 years old, which was the same age as the little girl in the movie, right? So to me, the movie just hit differently, and I was able to sympathize with those characters and really just kind of put myself in that situation because, well, I was dealing with a lot of that as a parent. So it was very much a unique experience watching it on Father's Day of all days, right? And then fast forward to today, we go out and see it in theaters as a family. And while the girl is, I think, 13 years old in this movie, so my daughter's not necessarily that age right now. We're acting like it, okay? I think the addition of some of the other emotions that like teenagers, preteens start experiencing was unique and felt in line. It felt very real. With all the emotions together, you know, you're able to really relate to a lot of the things that Riley goes through in this movie. And it's weird. It's weird because on one level, I'm watching this as a parent and I'm seeing some of the things that like my daughter's going through, so I can relate to it on that level. But then on the flip side of things, like I was 13 once, 14, 15. I went through high school and transitioned to all of those all those different emotions, and I went through all that. So it's very relatable on multiple levels for me. And I think that's why this movie hits a little bit differently for us parents out there, more so than maybe some of y'all that's not a parent. So if you are a parent and you're going to see this movie, go ahead and just get the tissues ready, okay? Because it's going to hit you right in the feels, for sure. Now, I was talking to my wife about the comparison between the first movie and the second movie, and I'm going to use the first movie to really explain why I like the second one a lot. Maybe not as much as the first one. I still think the first one is overall probably the better movie. And if you had to choose between the two, I'd probably pick the first one. When we watched the first movie, we agreed that I loved it when the emotions really played off of each other. Maybe not so much as like joy and sadness being off on their own or some of the other characters by themselves. But when they were a group and they were interacting and it was balancing back and forth between what they were doing and then how Riley was acting out in the real world, really loved that part of the original Inside Out. And then on the flip side of things, I loved when the parents actually went inside their minds and, you know, it showed their emotions and how they were processing what she was going through. Really loved that. We don't get as much as that in number 2. We don't, and that's kind of disappointing. We get a couple of moments here or there, but it's just like little snippets and a little disappointing for sure. But what this movie does do well, and I think it does better than the first movie, I think the overall story of Inside Out 2 is significantly better than 1. So with 1, it was basically just the emotions and then joy trying to stop sadness and take over. And then basically the life starts crumbling apart because, you know, she had just moved away and she's just experiencing sadness all the time, right? With Inside Out 2, she's going to a new school. She's trying out for the hockey team. She's trying to fit in. And then that's when anxiety kicks in. That's when embarrassment kicks in. And then there's the boredom character kind of kicks in. And as a as a preteen, you're hitting all of these emotions. I joked with my daughter for a second. I was like, I can kind of relate because I've seen you go through 3 or 4 different emotions in the span of like 2 minutes before. And that's what happens in this movie. So very, very relatable. And, she's trying to fight through those emotions in order to not only be popular, be liked, but also be successful and be on the hockey team. So overall, I think the story is just better. And then all the emotions are together for pretty much the entire movie. So it's not just sadness and joy broken off into their own little group and the others broken off into their little group. No, it's anxiety, embarrassment, and envy. They're all together. And then anger, sadness, disgust, joy, they're all together. So I think they're able to play off of each other a lot better in this one. So I think the overall story is significantly better, in my opinion, than the original movie. Now, with that being said, I don't think this one I didn't laugh as much in this one. It was mainly towards the beginning of the movie that it was kind of funny. But I feel like there were moments here or there with the first one more consistently that really just hit home with me and just made me laugh. But with that being said, I don't really strike that as a huge issue with the movie. And listen, it's a Pixar movie. It's going to hit you in the feels. It's going to pull on those heartstrings. And this movie is no different, I think. And I really enjoyed it, guys. I think this is a pretty good watch to go out in theaters as a family and watch it on the big screen. I think it is worth that, honestly. I think it's that good that you can go spend $40-$50 on tickets and then whatever you want to spend on concessions, okay? Because that shit's fucking expensive, am I right? I think the movie is good enough to warrant that kind of change being dropped. But guys, go ahead and drop me a comment below if you have seen Inside Out 2 and let me know what you think about the movie. Or did you not like it and don't plan on seeing it? Let me know down below. Also, in the description below, we have links to all of our social media accounts, TikTok, YouTube, etc. We greatly appreciate it if you went there, like, subscribe, follow, do all that bullshit. Really helps us expand and improve the podcast. So we'd be greatly appreciative of that. But guys, that is going to be it for me. I'll catch y'all next time on another review. Laters.